Now, it's a question we get asked here all the time at CarAdvice. If you're going off-road, why do you need to lower your tyre pressures? And you know what? It's a really good question. So to find out, we're here today with Simon from 4-Wheel Drive TV, who's substantially more experienced on the matter than I am. Simon, why do we lower our tyre pressures?
James, it's absolutely critical that we do lower our tyre pressures, and there's three core reasons why we do it. The first reason is that it improves the comfort of the vehicle. We're travelling across rough terrain, whether it's corrugations or rocky, steep hills. Lowering the tyre pressure actually enhances how the suspension works and greatly improves the comfort for the occupants of the vehicle. But it also improves the traction of the vehicle. So what we're doing is we're greatly increasing the footprint of the tyre, which means there's more rubber on the ground. More rubber on the ground results in more traction. The vehicle will travel over the rough terrain far more easily. And the third reason is that if you're increasing traction, you are greatly enhancing or protecting the environment. The more traction, the less scrabbling, the less tearing at the terrain, so the far easier the vehicle travels over the terrain is protected. So three core reasons why we do it, James.
So with that in mind, what's the rule of thumb? What do we lower them to, I guess?
Well, it really depends on the terrain, your driving style, and of course the tyres that you're using. But in general terms, if we're just hitting some gravel roads, travelling long distances and still a bit of speed, anywhere from 25 to 28 PSI will be perfect. When we get down to some slower crawling, we can lower the pressures a little bit more. Some mud, some rocks, general forward driving, 20 to 25 is the rule of thumb. But James, when it comes down to sand, you can lower the tyres even further, and anywhere from 15 up to 20 will give you far more traction. And sand can be quite a variable because you've got wet, hard-packed sand right through to dry, powdery sand like you've got across the Simpson Desert.
And that's not going to damage the tyres in any way? You're not stressing the sidewall? Even on these, this Nissan Patrol, by the way, has standard road tyres basically on it. They're the factory fit tyres. Lowering these, it's not going to stress the sidewall? It
is not going to stress them at all. But keep in mind though that a good aftermarket tyre with an LT rating, light truck, will allow us to have a much stronger sidewall. So it means that when we're ballooning that tyre out, it's actually lengthening the tread pattern and keeping the shoulders and the sidewall nice and square, which maximises the traction, but also improves the protection of the tyre itself.
Now, a car like our Patrol, which has got a tyre pressure monitoring system inside, it tells us what the pressures are at. To lower them, by the way, you just use a standard tyre deflator, which you can get from any auto parts store. Once we've lowered them down to 20 PSI, we can see where they are in the car. What do you need to do to get them to reinflate? Any special gear?
You can buy a compressor from most 4-wheel drive stores, from your Bursons, Repco, etc. They can be quite inexpensive, all the way up to quite a few $100s for a high quality one. And it's all about the time it takes to reinflate your tyres. So a cheap one might take a bit of time. The more expensive ones, more reliable and will pump it up very quickly.
So on the way home, we inflate as soon as we're about to hit the tarmac again?
As soon as you're on the dirt, let those tyres down. As soon as you're off the dirt, pump them back up. Because also, when you're running that tyre at a lower pressure on bitumen, you're causing far more wear on the rubber, and that's your money being burnt.
Well, there we go. So there you have it. It's the answer to the question we've all kind of wanted to know, and to be honest, I've actually learned something today. Make sure when you're going off-road, you not only have some friends, but you have some basic recovery gear, including a tyre deflator and reinflator. And if you're not sure, then join a 4-wheel drive club or take a 4-wheel drive course. You can learn a lot, you can meet some new friends and have a great old time out there in the bush. Stay safe.